Welcome to episode 5 of Teach Me Tiger. It's recording.
It's recording.
Recording.
It is recording.
Hi, Tiger. Teach me, Tiger, how to kiss you. Whoa, 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 whoa. Help me, Tiger. I don't know what to do. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Take my lips, they belong to you. But teach me first, teach me what to do.
Oh, hi, you guys. Welcome to Teach Me Tiger podcast.
You send us questions, and we call in the experts.
Or not experts.
We call in the smarty smarts to answer all of your questions and ours. We're your favorite neighbors.
Sarah, right?
And Melody Starkweather. Thanks for joining us. Sarah, how was your week?
My week was great. I started Zoloft,
Ooh.
which is also a popular Ween song, if anyone wants to look it up.
I've been on Zoloft for cigarettes.
Oh, yeah?
Like a million years ago.
Cigarettes?
They can prescribe it to help lessen the urges to smoke.
Cravings.
Yeah.
Huh.
Interesting. Did it make you feel funny?
Yes.
Did you start your career as a stand-up comedian, like, after you started taking them? Because you felt so funny?
That's funny. But no.
Yeah, I'm only on day 3 of my Zoloft. But if I don't eat when I take it, I get really high and it's really trippy. So I have to remember to eat while I'm taking it. It says that right on the bottle.
That's difficult for you, eating.
Eating is tough.
Yep.
I'm allergic to everything, just for all you listeners out there. But I'm really excited to, be a better person. Yay, Zoloft!
Zoloft, the medication that makes you a better person. Side effects may include extreme awesomeness.
Oh, and sausage fingers.
Sausage fingers. Yeah, like I said, better.
How was your week, Melody?
It was pretty good. I wanted to announce to everyone that Sarah and I are officially in the Robosphere.
What's it mean?
What's that mean? Yeah.
Well, I asked our Google Play device, hey, Google, can you play the most recent episode of Teach Me Tiger podcast? And she played it.
Wow. That's
She
impressive. You voice activated your own content.
We're voice activating our own voices. Wow, the
Cheers
future
to
really
that.
is now. The future really is now.
Oh, and then also, I wanted to tell you about how I did a little YouTube research. I'm editing the podcast, and people keep asking me if I hate the sound of my own voice and blah blah blah, and I've been like,
Why are people
it's
asking
fine
you that?
because I sound terrible. It turns out.
No, I think your voice is great. It's
Yeah.
like radio quality voice.
You have a beautiful voice.
Thank you, but. So I run all of my words together. When I go to edit myself, I can't just snip a little bit out because my words are all run into one.
Yeah, you're a fast talker.
I'm a fast talker.
Yep.
Hey, see?
Fast walker. Fast talker.
Not a fast walker.
With those long legs?
Just because I get stuck with our toddler, Chris. Chris is my husband. I'll introduce him in a minute. He's here with us.
He's here with us today.
Well, listening to myself, I thought basically I sound insane. And I couldn't even follow what I was saying at points. And I wonder how my German exchange student crew in university, because I had a crew of German exchange students.
Of course.
How did
Yeah.
they understand me?
Your posse.
I'm no Morgan Freeman.
You're no
In conclusion.
Morgan Freeman.
So I started watching some videos to try to improve my diction. And I found some pro voice acting tips, such as good posture. That's where I'm definitely going wrong, although I'm trying to sit up really straight right now.
We're all sitting up straight right now.
The woman I was watching, suggested to exercise your voice by humming for 5 minutes every morning. And she said to sing in the car whenever possible.
Great.
That sounds
already.
fun,
I'm already
right?
on top of that.
Yeah, that's why you sound so great.
I guess. Very silky.
And but then I also stumbled on this video about 3 ways to make people on YouTube like you in under 6 minutes.
3 ways in under 6 minutes.
How is that even a thing? But it is. Hang on. I wrote them down so that I made sure I got them right.
I can't wait to find out. It's like How to Win Friends and Influence People.
It totally is.
Popular novel.
So they did this whole little video about this girl named Liza, who's hilarious, and people love her on the YouTube.
But nobody liked her at the beginning, right?
I guess not.
Oh, it's from rags to riches. Is it one of those things where it's like, she had bad hair and glasses, and then at the end of the movie, they put contacts on and streaked her hair, and now she's the popular girl. Oh, Liza.
I think it's just like that. Just exactly.
Oh,
that.
good. Yeah. Good.
The end. Mm-hmm. Just kidding. So they broke it down into 3 things that you should do to make people like you. Start misinterpreting boring questions or negative situations and answering in funny, positive ways. Assume everything said to you is positive.
So, Mel, did you read the newspaper on the stock exchange today?
Stocking exchange? I'll keep my own, thank you. I don't know.
That was
I'm
great.
trying.
That was really good.
That was improvised. 2, do things to amuse yourself. Laugh at your own jokes. 3, kill the need to be seen as perfect so you can start to make jokes that are about honest experiences people can relate to. So, basically, Sarah and I are killing it. Am I right? Don't we do all of those things?
We already do all those
Pretty
things.
sure you just naturally do all those things.
Because we're naturally amazing people. That's why
There you go.
everyone loves us.
Podcast stars. We're going to be stars. Sarah laughs maniacally.
We're going to be stars. Steal the stars.
Oh boy. Chris
Yes.
is here.
Good morning.
Chris Chambers is my husband. He's the man who stole my heart, and then I stole him away from the greater Toronto area
Yay.
to
Perth.
Eastern Ontario, Perth. Chris is very handsome.
He's so handsome. Look
Thank
at those
you.
eyes.
He's the father of our very good-looking children.
These beady eyes.
He has very
Beautiful
long
eyes.
eyelashes.
He's like
That is true, yes.
it's like a deer. Like blink, blink. It's you might if you listen real close, listeners, you might be able to hear his eyelashes click together.
I
They
do
sound
have,
like
inch-long eyelashes, basically.
He measured them this morning.
butterfly wings in the breeze. Also, Chris is really smart and really practical. He really appreciates efficiency.
Thank you.
So he is quickly becoming a farm master. He does lots of research into everything to make sure he's doing it the best possible way.
Also means I'm kind of an irritating bastard.
But we
with other
love you
people.
anyway.
We really do.
Thank you.
Welcome, Chris.
Oh, thanks.
Welcome to our basement, Chris.
I've been here before. Wait. Things are different, though. There's microphones.
How was your week, Chris?
Oh, it was all right, yeah. Did some planting and some weeding and some other various
Farmy stuff?
things. Yeah.
Farmy stuff?
Farmy stuff, fish tank stuff, online stuff.
He's also a marine biologist.
Yeah.
If
there you
anyone
go.
wants to know about fish, let us know. Maybe we'll have him on to talk marine biology.
Chris, the fish guy.
Yeah, I'm actually technically more knowledgeable about fish than plants, but I have some plant knowledge.
Enough to be on our podcast.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, yeah. Later
Doesn't
on, no, but
Take much.
We set the bar real low.
Just kidding.
Kidding. We love all our
Kidding.
guests. They're all experts.
So should we jump right into our icebreakers game?
Let's do it.
Icebreakers.
let's break the ice because my ice is thick and hard. I mean, wait, hold on.
Yes.
Your ice, huh?
Where's the box?
Here it is.
Oh, you get to reach into Mel's box live on
Yeah.
air.
All right.
Hey, Chris. Reach into my box.
Oh, boy.
If you could see one movie again for the first time, what would it be and why? What a question. What a question.
Can I make an educated guess?
Okay.
Yes, please do.
Star Trek First Contact.
No.
Oh.
If I could watch Star Wars, the first one again as an adult, I'd probably be like, "This is a piece of shit. Why am I watching this?" Because Star Wars kind of sucks.
Right. That's
But I
terrible
spent
to say.
way too much time as a child obsessing over a pretty cheesy movie from the 70s.
What, Star Wars?
Star Wars, yes.
We're still
Oh, I
talking
was like,
Star Wars?
which one? The peanut butter solution?
Star Trek is a superior series. series.
So you wouldn't change anything about Star Trek First Contact specifically?
No, why would I?
That's right. We own it
I
on
love you so
DVD.
much.
We own it on Blu-ray
Blu-ray.
and VHS.
That's right.
Yeah.
The problem with that whole series is they only made one good movie for the Star Trek: The Next Generation, and it's First Contact. So the rest are kind of crappy.
First Contact, it sounds kind of like a sex film.
It's a Borg film.
Ooh, sexy Borg.
Swedish, you know.
The Borg were pretty sexy.
Yeah,
Kinda,
That
yeah.
lady was all kind of lubed up,
Like
and
6 or 7
and
or whatever?
slippery. Yeah,
Ooh, yeah. Geek-seeking missile.
Okay, I'm going to read this one.
right.
Oh, this is a pretty good one. Christopher, you can have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life. What is it?
God, these questions. Maybe wire ties. I'm always running out of those.
Oh my god, you're so lame, Chris. Oh. Anything in the world and you say wire ties?
I'm always having to, go to get.
You're
wire.
so Mel said he's very practical.
Yes.
He's practical. and
Moretz.
efficient.
That's the proper name for them. Is a Moret.
good.
If my father's listening, he'll know what I'm talking about.
So we can maybe do that. That's a dream that you could maybe come true.
Get a lot of Moretz.
Yeah, just get them and stick them all over the place. Little stashes of Moretz. I could use that for bobby pins.
One more. Reach into my box.
Oh.
Baby.
Baby boo. Ooh. Can we all answer this?
Actually, he
one
reached into Sarah's box that time. Wink.
after? Winky winky.
First time for everything.
Yo. What is your favorite curse word?
God, there's only like 6, right?
Oh my god. Can we do a round robin of all the curse words after?
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we could just run through them now so that I could pick a favorite.
Okay. You start.
Fuck.
Cunt.
God damn it.
Shit.
Was God damn it a swear word?
I think it counts.
That doesn't
Okay.
seem like a swear.
If Chris's mom is
All right.
listening, it
Yeah,
counts.
she'd want a
Okay.
gosh darn it on that.
Gosh darn it. Okay. I say see you next Tuesday.
Right?
Right. I guess, I mean, in England, you're allowed to say the C word. I'm not even going to say it because it's so
Cunt,
frown-
cunt.
You can say it.
Uh-huh.
You're a
You
lady.
can say it.
Sarah's taunting Chris.
Like, I like how English people just sort of
Such
throw
a
it in
fucking
all the
cunt.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess that is my favorite since it's so taboo.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm shocked. I am shocked by your answer. I don't even know you.
I don't even know you anymore. Do you ever?
I feel like the F word is real pedestrian at this point. You just throw it out all over the place whenever you want.
It's my favorite. I think.
I think it's my favorite.
I say it all the fucking
Actually, no.
time.
Honestly, God damn it is probably my favorite. I really
God
hope your
damn
mom's
it.
not
That's what
listening.
you say
I say
a
it a
lot, yeah.
lot.
Yeah, I say Jesus Christ a lot.
Oh, I say that too. Cool, man.
That was
Is
great.
the ice broken?
Feels,
Your thick, callous ice.
so cold?
Smashed.
Ooh.
yeah, it feels pretty good.
Let's all feel your ice.
Should we get to business?
Let's get to business.
All right.
We just want to know for point of reference, because this is all about farming. You're answering us questions about gardening, farming, all this stuff. What zone are we in for all the listeners out there? And wait, two-parter, what does that even mean?
Okay. The zone means it's a measure of how many frost-free days you would have.
What?
So lower zones have fewer frost-free days, and higher zones have,
Higher
yeah.
frost free.
So like a zone 9 would have almost no frost. That's
Okay.
like Florida.
Right.
And perfect farming is like zone 6 and 7. It's not too hot. It cools down part of the year.
Where's that at? England.
That's like southern Pennsylvania kind of thing, like just a couple 100 kilometers south of us.
Okay. So we're
So
close.
there's a few zone 6s in Ontario, which are like Leamington and like those perfect farming places near London where they grow all the peaches and things like that.
Do they also, is that like wine country?
Yeah, Niagara, they get, it gets obviously cold, but it warms up real quick.
Right.
And we're in 5B. For
Okay.
some reason, 5 is one of the only ones that's broken down into 2. And we're 5B, which
What's
means
that 5A?
B-sides.
We're the B side. Sweet.
that's just a little bit north of us, so they're just a little bit colder. And 5B is like where It's a good zone. It like gets really cold, but you have enough time that you can grow almost anything as long as you start the plants early enough.
Inside.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. How big is your farm? What are we talking here? Garden, greenhouse?
We have a real micro farm going on here right now. 3 acres, 3.5 acres total. Only maybe a quarter acre under cultivation with a 800 square foot greenhouse and a chicken area that's run by Melody.
She's a chicken lady.
Yeah.
And your greenhouse is pimping. It's huge.
Well, I mean, relatively speaking, it's extremely small, but yeah, it's the biggest one on the block anyway.
Biggest on the block. That's all we care about.
How did you get started? What got you into it?
You and I started gardening in Toronto, and it was satisfying to have zucchinis in our backyard. And then we decided that it would be not possible for us to buy any land whatsoever in the GTA.
But when I met you, you were talking about going to live and work on a farm, right?
Yeah.
You were into it before I met you. It
seemed like something noble to do, something that had some meaning.
In a meaningless world.
Some abstract, job. And no offense to anyone who has an abstract office job, but it doesn't appeal at all to me whatsoever.
No offense, but you're a fucking asshole. So
no job where I have to directly work for anyone else has any appeal for me whatsoever.
Right. I can see that.
Yeah.
Chris has been known to just walk off of jobs.
Yeah.
He's really good at telling people where to go.
When people tell me
when they tell him what to do.
I just
when they ask him for directions.
Leave, so
Chris, do this. I'm leaving.
I'm okay to be beholden to customers because you can choose to have different customers if you really don't like it. But if you have a shitty boss, that's...
So all you bosses, don't hire Chris.
Actually, in Perth, I've had good luck. Terry and JR down at the brewery were great. Overall, I'm not a guy that can work for other people for very long.
He's fired customers even.
Yeah, I have told customers.
Never email me again.
Sorry, we're done.
Please do not contact me. These are direct quotes.
And now you're just working for Mother Nature.
Yeah.
And she's a saucy bitch.
She will do whatever she wants, and she is right now.
Yes. At the time of recording, which is, what is this, April 14th?
Yeah.
Mid-April.
It's fucking
basically
snowing.
An ice storm.
There's an ice storm happening right now. Snow, it's freezing out.
Yeah. Fucking sucks.
Fucking sucks.
Fucking sucks.
Mother Nature's a slut.
Our friend Lexi in Toronto wanted to know what the most difficult part of the farming journey has been so far for you.
Probably trying to farm a quarter acre without a proper tractor. That's very difficult physically.
Yeah. How much does a tractor cost? New.
New? Like $30,000?
Used.
6 to 12 with a bucket. Like
better sell a lot of veggies, Chris.
Yeah.
Physically, I'd say moving compost is the most difficult thing, but pest management, I guess. Weeding. Oh my God. Weeding has got to be the worst. Keeping up with the weeds.
Do you know what he's been doing this year, though?
Constant.
What's he been doing?
Flame weeding.
Fuck off. What's flame weeding? Tell us everything. Oh my God, I love it.
Okay, so you make a bed, and prep it out, get it fertilized and everything, and then you encourage weeds to grow in it by watering it.
Okay.
And then you flame those weeds with a big torch. And then that's called a stale seed bed. So you've now completely encouraged all the seeds that are in the bed to come up, and then you flame them and they die.
You trick those bastards out of the ground, and then you fucking take them down.
And then you can like seed in carrots or beets or something, and you can actually do it again. You can water it again, and then wait for the weeds to come up and flame, and they'll come up before your vegetable seeds will come up. And so now you've sort of double sterilized the bed. It works pretty well.
But sterilize. Does that mean are you killing any like bugs?
No, because you're only
surface?
killing. Well, you're killing just the top surface, but everything below the surface is perfectly fine.
Like you said, you could plant some stuff. So like the little rootsies of your carrots.
Even if your carrots have germinated, as long as they haven't popped out of the soil, then they won't die because you're only making the top layer, really like just the top millimeter, inhospitable.
So you're telling me you can be a farmer and play with a flamethrower?
And I haven't got any weird looks yet, but I'm sure someone at some point will stop their car while I've got my giant torch and I'm
going to stop my fucking car
along the road.
Look at that farmer flaming in his field.
The hell is he doing?
Can we utilize that in a Halloween costume this year, maybe? Like on the bottom of a backpack, so that, like a jetpack kind of thing?
Like a Ghostbusters type?
Yeah, or like...
It's Yeah, but without the propane tank's really heavy.
And dangerous.
Yeah, I don't want to lug I don't know. My Halloween doesn't sound.
You don't
great
think Holly
lugging
could carry?
No,
the
I don't.
propane tank?
I don't know that I want to lug a propane tank around.
Yeah. Here, Holly, just press this button. No problem. Give me more candy, bitches.
Listen, it's Halloween. This is serious business.
Serious business. Mel takes Halloween very seriously.
I do.
She really does. It's amazing.
Sarah, you take the next one.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Tips.
Holly's favorite part of The Lion King was when Mufasa dies. That's her
Yes.
favorite part.
Yeah.
She went to see the play, and I said, Holly, what was your favorite part of the play? And she said, when the one dad fell down and got dead.
Holly is...
This is our daughter.
She's sort of a goth.
Maybe, eh? I feel like she's prepping to be like a supervillain, like evil genius. So she's just so brilliant.
Serial killer.
Yeah,
like a
that, you know,
sociopath.
she's just a tiny, adorable sociopath.
She'll develop emotions eventually, right?
By the way, Chris, have you seen the cat? He's been missing a couple days.
No, but thankfully I don't care. He's old.
Bye-bye, Gizmar.
See you later,
That's
sucker.
just. I'm kidding. I would be sad. if he
Just
was gone.
kidding.
Move along, puss. All right. Tips.
Tips.
Just a tip.
Just a tip.
Oh, fuck. I want tips on common vegetable garden plants.
So in zone 5B,
Right.
5B. Like, I'm thinking tomatoes, basil, carrots. You know, those are things a lot of people, even if they don't have a kind of a farm
Yeah, they want
or
to
a
plant
large space,
some.
they have, everyone's got like a pot with a tomato, maybe some fresh basil, and
Yeah.
maybe like, I just struggle with carrots, so.
Yeah,
Carrots are
carrots are
tricky.
hard. So you want to know some tips on how to grow carrots?
like some hacks, maybe.
Like, what's
All
some
right.
hacks for tomatoes? Let's start with tomatoes. There's so many different ways
Right.
to
Trellis
them up
them, yeah.
and things. What do you do?
I mean, it took me a few years to figure out how to do it, but because I wanted a really cheap way to trellis them, and I would say just like a piece of wire strung between two posts.
Like how tall? Like 10 feet? What are we saying?
Like, you know, those metal posts, they're like $6 or
Like a
$7 at the T posts.
Okay.
And you could have a row 10 feet long or something and have, 8 tomato plants. You just run a wire along the top and run a string down from the thing down to the base of the tomato plant. And you can kind of wind it around the tomato.
That's so cool. So you're not messing around with those big like sticks for everyone.
And the
That
cages
doesn't
and
work.
everything. It's so crappy, yeah.
It doesn't work, man. The cages, like the tomatoes all smushed together.
The cages are only good for what you call determinate tomatoes, which we could also talk about.
Right. Indeterminate. Determinate.
So
Please tell me the difference.
All right. It's really simple. Indeterminate tomatoes just keep growing. They're basically a vine,
Right.
where a determinate tomato is like a bush. It only sets X number of tomatoes, then it stops. An indeterminate tomato will just keep growing as long as it's warm out. So it gets really, really tall and unwieldy.
And like it wants to grow along the ground.
Yeah,
like a
exactly.
vine,
So
right?
only use those. If you're going to
Like an
use
octopus.
cages, you got to use them for determinate tomatoes, which will work fine because it'll just get so big and then it'll stop.
Right.
And just make its fruit and die.
Then you have to deal with those fucking cages, though. How many times have you tripped over one of those
Yeah.
goddamn cages?
I tripped over them like 4 times this week, and then I finally cleaned up my pile of 60 cages.
Yeah, fuck these cages. Okay, so I just have to ask the T posts.
Yeah.
How tall are they ish? Like, how tall are we talking?
They're either 6 or 8 feet or 10.
Okay,
I think
so
they
you
come
want
in 3
something like
lengths.
as
I would
tall as
say-
you or taller?
Yeah, the 8 foot would be ideal, and then you just
How
kind
many
of pound it in a foot or 2.
Just pound it right in there. Boom.
Pound it in, just the tip.
I mean, I spread them like
tip.
I spread them like 15 feet apart, but I
Really?
have a 80-foot long row of tomatoes. So then there's like 5 of them or whatever.
How far apart do you space your tomato plants ish?
Pretty close, like 18 inches, but that's like
No kidding.
But I prune pretty aggressively. If you're not going to prune very aggressively, you want like 2 feet between your tomato plants. Like,
Should people prune aggressively?
yeah, but I don't know that home gardeners like are going to prune aggressively. Like, unless you're super into your garden. So I never did. The first time I pruned was last year.
So more pruning would equal more yield, but if you're not necessarily like super concerned about that.
Yeah, and it usually leaves the tomatoes are not as prone to disease because there's better airflow around
Right.
them, and they spend less of their energy trying to make more branches and more of their energy trying to make fruit on what they already have.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you can, just do it.
Yeah. If you can prune. It's just, sort of tricky to keep on top of it because tomatoes are so vigorous. They grow so quickly.
What about carrots? What can you tell us about carrots?
Sure. Carrots don't need to be heavily fertilized. That's one of the big things.
Pause. Wait.
don't
I
need very
actually,
much, yeah.
speaking of fertilization, just quick, tomatoes. What, do you super fertilize tomatoes or what?
I just plant tomatoes in a bunch of compost.
Okay.
And then
they like compost.
Yeah, and I might give them some fish emulsion if they like fish juice, if they look a little weak or whatever.
Chris has all this fish juice
I do have
So
fish
gross.
in our
emulsion stuff,
closet,
yeah.
and it smells like
Whoa,
an
whoa, whoa.
animal died in the wall.
I put it outside. It's outside
Sounds
now.
like an animal died in the wall.
If it still smells like that, then an animal did die.
Yeah.
You may
something's
wanna look
wrong.
into
It's Gizmo. Holly put him in the
Oh
wall.
my
Oh,
God. I once heard about putting an eggshell in each.
Yeah, you could do
They
like
really
some
like eggshells?
calcium and magnesium and stuff like with Epsom salts and things like that if you think your compost is deficient or if you think your soil's crappy.
If you have crappy soil,
Yeah.
deficient compost.
But like,
then you're
okay,
a
to the
fucking
layman,
loser.
Yep.
the layman tomato grower,
Right.
can they just go to the store and get a regular compost? So they have to get a special compost or just whatever compost they have like on sale? Does it matter?
Can I put manure?
That
like,
should
instead?
work. I don't like to use manure just because it can burn plants.
Oh.
But sheep manure is a little bit less burny.
Okay.
But yeah, compost is better
Okay. Good to know.
because it's a little bit of the what you call heat has come out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like the
Like
fuzz.
actual heat?
Yeah, like the bacteria have broken down some of the manure, so you don't get as much ammonium and stuff like that in the mix, so that there's not as much kind of chemical action going on in it.
Okay. It's like mellow.
Yeah.
The ammonia is the P, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Compost pea. Okay. Carrots. Sorry. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I would use pelleted seed, which you can usually get online in small quantities. That's just like a seed that's been coated in like a clay pellet.
Okay.
It's much easier to handle.
Yeah,
And
they're
you can
so
s-
little, those
you can
fucking
see,
carrot seeds.
You can see these big white, like spheres that you're planting that are
Right.
maybe a third the size of a pea, and you can just
Right.
go pop, 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 pop. So I use pelleted seed as much as I can.
And you don't find there's a difference, like it doesn't affect the
No, if anything,
performance?
like carrots, you have to keep moist. Like they don't, and they take a really long time to germinate. So
they do.
I would use. So what my method is the flame weeding. But if you ignored the flame weeding and you just we're gonna weed it, plant your carrots with your pelletized seed, water it, and then put something over top of it like burlap, or if you're doing really short rows, like a piece of wood, something to sort of mulch it temporarily, and then every 5 days or so check and see if your carrots are coming up underneath there.
And then remove the.
Then remove it, and then they're fine. Yeah.
And then you have to like break the soil up more with carrots, right? To get them to grow straight. Is that true?
Yeah, that could be a problem. If your soil's really compacted, they'll kind of get weird looking.
Gnarly.
If you over fertilize carrots, they'll get like really branchy, so they'll turn into those crazy like multi-fingered
People
carrots. Yeah, and that's
carrots
too
are
much
made of
nitrogen.
people.
So you don't want to plant carrots into compost. If you want to fertilize carrots, you can use some blood meal or bone meal or something that has lots of phosphorus in it. That's it.
See,
meal.
he knows stuff. Are
He
you,
knows
are
so
you
much
hearing
stuff.
this? This is
Oh my
very
God.
sciencey, Chris.
And then carrots you have to thin, like beets as well, right?
Yeah.
You have to thin.
Well, yeah, carrots. So with the pelletized seed, that's another
Ooh,
advantage.
right.
You can space it out an inch or an inch and a half, and that's perfectly good. I don't like to thin. Fuck
no,
thinning.
it's the worst.
I can't imagine a poor use of my time. And with beets, you just sitting there picking individual carrots, like fuck off.
Can I just say that's so Chris?
That's so gross to say it. I love it.
With beets, there's actually one variety called Minetta. So beet, like a beet seed is like a bunch of seeds like all in a packet.
Yeah.
So usually 3 to 5 beets will come out of a single seed, and that's also a pain in the ass. But there are what are called monogerm varieties, which I've used. Like one is called Minetta Monetta, where there's only one seed in each fruit, which is
cool.
like the beet seed is actually a fruit, like it's a whole thing. So, but there's only one fertile seed in each one, and that can help with thinning too.
One fertile myrtle.
Yeah.
Whenever I
Interesting. I didn't know
thin
that.
vegetables like that, I feel like I'm a fucking serial killer. I'm like, oh, you're alive and you're so strong and healthy, and
Yeah,
but I have to
it's
rip you
hard.
out of the ground. Like,
I end up
Fucking
when
sucks.
I've thinned beets before, I've been like, I'll just try and plant you here in this little gap, and maybe you'll make it. And
yeah,
they don't.
They never do.
But
You
But
save
you
them
get-
for your salads.
Yeah, I was going to say you get delicious micro
Yeah, you could-
greens
yeah,
when
I
you
guess.
thin your beets, at least.
it
Yeah.
also seems like a waste of my time.
I like my
Micro
base up
greens.
high and my beat down low. No, base down low. Ugh.
God, you feel
I literally never get your rap references, but carry on, soldier. I love them.
Carry on, soldier. It's because they're always wrong. Like, that's not even. I think it's like I like my beats high and my bass down low. Eh?
Yeah?
Eh?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Like I said, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Perfect. I only got the internet last year. All my references are from
fucking
1995.
Luddites.
I know we are. It's true. All right. Next up.
Basil? Basil?
Basil.
Basil?
Basil doesn't like the cold.
No.
It doesn't like the cold. So is that like the
Uh,
main thing to know about basil? Because it's one of those plants that seems really easy, but then it's actually kind of tricky. It seems to, you know,
finicky.
Yeah, like
It
you
can
have to
mess
be.
up.
It's got to be fully kind of warm.
It's from
Like,
the Mediterranean.
June is the time. You don't want to plant basil as early as you possibly can outside because if it frosts, you're done.
You fucked.
Um,
Also, pick it when it's ready, or else it's going to frost and all your basil is going to turn black.
yeah, and you can't really keep it in the fridge. So if you're picking basil, like don't keep it in your fridge because it's going to turn black. Basil basically starts to die at about 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
What's that mean?
That's like 5 degrees Celsius. So
All right.
it doesn't even need to be frosted. It just biologically starts to shut down at quite relatively warm temperatures where other vegetables would be perfectly happy to hang out at.
I feel like I'm just like a basil plant.
Yeah.
At about 5 degrees, they start to fucking shut down.
And
I wanna
then
fucking
you
nap.
can also, the other thing with basil is it likes to go to flower really quickly.
Oh, yeah.
So there are a couple of varieties that will hold longer in the field is what it's called. And I think like there's one called Dolce Fresca
Ooh.
that holds for a really long time, which I used last year. And it was like, I had the same basil plants for 3 months,
Dolce
just picking over and over and over again.
And so do you like if it starts going to flower, do you pinch the flower off?
What I was doing was it was growing so fast by the time it had been producing for me for a few weeks that every week I would just cut the entire top of the plant off and then it would just regenerate the entire
No
thing
way.
again. Is it just every time you cut basil, it just branches and
Right.
becomes bigger and bushier.
So don't be afraid. See, I'm always so no.
Yeah, as long as
my
you leave a
basil.
couple of leaves on a plant, it'll be fine.
Okay, I'm always like picking like a few leaves off each one and trying to spread it out.
I
But
feel like once basil has like a good root system established, it can completely regenerate the whole plant in just a matter of a week or two.
Interesting.
Yeah.
now is it a heavy feeder like
No.
manure?
I would
or
again
what?
just plant it or like just work some compost into the ground and it'll be fine.
What if you don't have compost?
Go and purchase compost.
Purchase the compost.
What if you don't want to go to the store?
I
What
would
if-
recommend that you.
You hate planting.
I don't know.
And farming and gardening.
Yeah, fertility is pretty important. So you could maybe go get some chemicals and put them on there or whatever.
Fuck that.
But I don't do that. I don't know.
Compost. This is from our friend Meredith. Since moving to the country with 2 years of small town living as a baby step, I've found that I have to be so much more self-motivated. In the city, you can kind of just walk out your door and find a space, a group, an event to help you achieve your goals. But out here, it's even just a chore to get yourself out of the house and in the car to drive 20 minutes to see a friend. Am I just lazy? What are your motivational tips and tricks?
Yeah, I like the quietness and the being at home. I get up when I have to get up, basically. And sometimes that involves me getting up at 6 a.m. if I'm going to Ottawa.
Yeah, like tomorrow because I'm sleeping in.
Yeah, tomorrow as well
Heyo.
because Melody's sleeping in.
That you don't have to like push yourself. It's
You get up when you want to get up. You set your own schedule. You set your own rules. Like that's your whole shtick anyway, right?
That's my whole
Yeah.
deal, yeah.
Yeah. So don't, Meredith, I guess what I'm saying It's just because like it's a farmy thing to do to get up at 5 or 5:30 and work until noon. You don't have to do that.
Do whatever you
Girl,
want.
work in the late afternoon if you feel like it. You might have to wear some good bug spray if you're going to do that, but whatever. Do it.
Whatever. It is hard to get motivated. I find it really hard to, we have such a short period of time when our kids are at school that we can go do like extracurricular activities away. And my kids are gone from like 9 till 3. And by the time I'm like motivated and ready to go to town or do anything, it's often like 2:00. And I'm like, oh, fuck. It's too late now.
I got to plan snacks.
Gotta plan snacks for the goddamn kids. But setting goals, like holding yourself accountable by saying it out loud. So it's like, instead of just saying to your head, like, oh, I think I should visit this friend this week. Call the friend and be like, I'm going to visit you Tuesday at 11. And then that kind of motivates you because you just got to do it because you said you would.
Yeah. Also lists. Clipboards.
Clipboards are good.
Clipboards.
Yeah, I do have a clipboard.
Yeah.
Chris loves his clipboard. He didn't take the plastic off of it for months.
Usually things that I do well, I have some skin in the game. So there's some risk involved financially for me. Like farming, I've put a bunch of money into this thing, so I have to work at it. Otherwise, it's just a loss.
Right.
So I have to get up and do it. Otherwise, why did I buy $10,000 worth of equipment?
Right.
Your sister actually asked the question in asking how did you get started. She was like, did you start by gathering your equipment or did you start farming and then add the equipment as you could afford it?
Right.
So did you like gather all of your stuff first?
The first thing I did was I read a book that was basically called The Market Gardener. That is kind of a book on how to farm, but it's just like, this is how people farm, and this is the gear that I use to do what I do, and I make 6 figures. Guy named J.M. Fortier, he's from Quebec, and
I've never heard of a rich farmer.
Okay, no.
First time sees.
You should read this book,
exists.
I guess.
Yeah.
And so he had just this whole list of things to get, but it was like an extensive list, and you could start with whatever you wanted to. And as long as you kind of work towards staying within the parameters of that system, which is like 30-inch beds and small scale and this and that, then you can collect your stuff slowly. And so I bought my walk-behind tractor, which is like a tiller.
It's so cool. It's made you the like coolest guy in the valley.
Thanks.
It's like the valley's version of like a sports car.
And I was able to find that on Kijiji for, a tenth the value of a brand new one.
Isn't it made by Ferrari?
It is made by a division of Ferrari. It's an Italian walk-behind tractor. And then, there were things that I didn't think I was going to need to get. Like, I didn't think I was going to need that walk-in cooler the first year, but it was way too much food to store anywhere else, and it was way too much work to pick it the day that I was going to sell it.
Right.
So
walk-in cooler.
The walk-in cooler I had to have. The walk-in cooler, again, was like a tenth the normal value. It was $900 instead of, $8,000. And
Chris is also very, very good at Kijiji.
that's true.
Kijiji's tricky.
Oh, he's good. I know this is so off topic, but Chris, number one trick for Kijiji.
Oh, please tell us.
Persistence?
And waiting, right?
Specificity?
Yeah.
Wait, can you be more specific?
Decide what you want down to the model number and the year and wait for it.
And what you want to decide what you want to spend, right?
Yeah, and I mean, there's some luck involved, obviously. You're going to have to capitulate at some point if you just aren't finding what you're needing, but...
Capitulate. Define that word.
Give up. Just say, fuck it. Okay, I'll have to spend this much money.
Capitulate. Fuck it.
Can you tell me that in swears?
Fuck it.
Yeah, sorry, I only speak the swear, so if you can break it down to swear for me. Okay.
Yeah. So Meredith, maybe if you if you're wanting to really farm, like really giver, maybe you need to be more like financially invested in it. Buy some stuff, and then you can't fail because you need to make it worth it.
Or start a very small CSA where you have like 5 members,
committed,
and then you're like beholden to these 5 people to get up every day and work on this thing.
There you go.
And then you get to use words like beholden,
but
which
it's not
such a good word.
Capitulate.
5 people in a CSA isn't so much work that it would be a burden to you. It would just be I have to get this thing done for these 5 people or they're going to be pissed at me.
Yeah, so like make yourself accountable.
Yep.
Boom.
There you go.
Full circle.
There it is. So, Chris,
Yep.
it's May 3rd.
When this airs.
Oh, okay.
It's May 3rd.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah. What should we be planting right now? Like, what should people in our area be on the ball with, getting it going?
Anything frost tolerant should be cool right now. Obviously, your tomatoes should be in your windowsill or whatever, but they're not going to go outside until a little bit later. But lettuce, spinach, chard, kale,
radishes
for sure. Yeah.
You discovered like
possibly
that.
Peas.
Oh,
snap peas. Yeah, I discovered what I discovered.
Just radishes. What's that? Where we was it the watermelon radish or?
Yeah, that was the one you were into.
Yeah, did you grow it?
No, but I got some seed. Yeah, it's got the pink on the inside and white on the outside.
Ooh.
No, it's like green on the outside. It's fuchsia
right.
on the inside. Thank you very much.
I have one that's similar to that.
And then it's green on the outside. It's so gorgeous.
Sounds like a dragon fruit.
Yeah. I want to get a dragon fruit tattoo.
They're so pretty.
I've been drawing dragon fruits.
Nice.
I'm going to get a tattoo of it on my hand somewhere. I don't actually like how they taste. I like how they look.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not about
Much
the flavor
like
of dragon fruit.
I like how the way you look. That's all. That's all I like. So go away.
So, Chris, the cold hardy stuff you're talking about, sowing the seed directly into the ground?
If you want. I try and sow as little directly into the ground as I can.
Oh, yeah?
It is so much easier to germinate things in trays, like lettuces and things like that.
Right. But lettuces are fine going into the ground, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I won't be able to germinate anything inside my house because I just have too many kids and dogs and
you
cats
can direct
and stuff.
seed whatever you want. Yeah, like anything like that. On May 1st, you could definitely be planting carrots and beets. They're totally frost tolerant. Absolutely.
And is there still time to plant anything indoors by May 1st that you need, like your tomatoes or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, if you can start tomatoes May 1st. It's on the late side. If you're going to do cucumbers, definitely that's about the time you want to start them, and squash, anything in that family. You're not going to want to plant that outside until June 1st, and they want to be in a transplant container for a month.
But you can also direct
Sure you can.
plant
I just
those as well,
have
right?
I just don't do any of that myself. The germination rate on direct seed, it gets so much harder to manage the conditions for seeds when they're spread out outdoors than it is inside in pots. So if it will tolerate being transplanted, then I'm down.
Yeah. Down like a clown.
Yep.
Boo. Okay, so our friend Catherine had some great garlic questions.
Okay.
I love
Oh,
garlic,
yes.
so.
Okay.
She says, garlic, we love growing it, and we've had great years with it, but we've had blight moving through the beds for the last couple of years. We know we shouldn't replant the garlic in the beds with the blight. What would you recommend we plant to rejuvenate the bed? So I think the first question, though, on top of that is, how do you not get blight? Like, how do we try to protect ourselves from garlic blight at the beginning?
Well, I think the blight she's talking about is when we all had those mushy bulbs,
Yeah.
which was actually a nematode infection.
Oh, no way.
So like little microscopic animals messing up our garlic. And it's all from getting seed garlic that's already infected with the nematodes.
Oh, no.
And I think it attacks them sort of the second year when they try and form a bulb from the single segment of the bulb. So basically, I think they are just in the soil now for a couple of years. So you kind of have to not plant garlic there and then start with clean seed.
Is there anything you can put in the soil to kill them?
Nothing organic. I don't know. Maybe you could nuke it with something chemical, but nothing that I'm aware of will just kill off the nematodes. That's usually just a crop rotation issue. So, for home gardeners, that can be a little difficult if you're limited on space. You can't just go, oh, well, I'll plant half a kilometer this way or something. But I would just leave it fallow or make a new garlic area and then start with clean seed.
So, but the nematodes, will they affect other stuff? Can she plant like her tomatoes where she had the garlic?
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Cool.
They're just going to have, I don't know that they'd even bother onions. I think they're specific to garlic, at least that kind of nematode.
And then what else, is there a garlic blight as well? That's not that nematode thing? Or is this two different things or is this the same?
The only one that I'm aware of is the nematodes, but I think she's talking about when our bulbs got mushy.
Yeah.
That was my interpretation anyway.
And is there any way to ensure, though, then when you buy your seed garlic
Nope.
that it's not... Oh, man, it's all just up to chance.
You can't see the nematodes
No,
necessarily?
no.
So if you get a bunch of garlic and some of it's squishy and some looks fine, if you just plant the stuff that looks fine, you're still getting the nematodes probably.
Could be, yeah.
Dang it.
Yep.
Dang.
What you have to do is just find someone who has a really good reputation for selling clean garlic seed. Clean seed garlic.
like
Where do we find them? On the dark web?
I don't know. Probably Coral. Our friend Coral
On the upside
Scroll,
down?
the president of the National Farmers Union, might know.
Ooh,
We
name
probably
drop.
should have had her sit in on this.
Probably.
eh?
Seems like she might have been more of an expert than me.
You're very experty.
Thank you.
You're one of our smarty smart experty
We'll see if we can get Coral to write in with all the corrections.
And
for me.
I'm not sleeping with Coral.
Oh,
Am I
well,
right?
There you go.
Hey-o.
Hey-o.
That we know of.
Yeah, Coral. Shh. Okay. Question
Yes.
from Lexi in Toronto.
Got it.
Can you be scared of spiders and or uncomfortable with bugs and still be a farmer?
I think so, but I mean, I've had to kind of step up this game, like crushing bugs with my fingers and stuff. You know, those squash bugs are. You just got to pick them up and put them in a bucket full of soap. Like that's all I can do is just grab them and put them in a bucket full of soap.
Were you comfortable doing that before the farming? No.
Good Lord.
Okay, so
no.
you moved, like you became less
Yeah,
afraid.
I guess, just spending several entire summers a lot outside and the bugs are kind of touching you and around you. You're just like, well, they're not really going to do anything. They're kind of gross, but I can handle touching this weird, hard, crunchy animal that has an exoskeleton, even though it looks
Well, and
creepy.
you're like-
Certainly spiders? Fuck no. I'm not touching a spider.
Really?
No, I've never touched a spider. I've never had a spider problem.
Right.
I think I probably would try something like some sort of organic pesticide or something rather than
Flames!
touching the spiders or just let them have it. Fuck it. Eat the stuff, spiders.
Oh my god.
You have so many eyes, I can't look you in the eye.
But any other bug, no problem. Worms or
my God.
something with 6 legs, just not 8 legs. Fuck
What about
that.
tomato hornworms? Oh,
Yeah, that's no problem. They're just kind of plump and like squishy.
Can you fry that up and eat it? Because it's very meaty.
Yeah.
I've been
Even
hearing a lot
like-
of buzz about cricket powder. They have it at the grocery store.
You know those white
Need some hornworms.
You know those white grubs that we have in the ground?
Oh,
Those I
yes.
can pick up now.
Oh my god.
Because they're just like
they bite.
"Eh."
No.
Careful, they bite.
I don't know if they bite. Well, I'll pick them up. I have a jar. So last year I had a jar. I collected probably like a liter of these fucking things from the new field, and I brought them to the chickens over and over again, and they went crazy, right?
Aren't they June bug?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
In our area, they're actually those fucking chaffer, but you know the rose
Rose
chaffers.
chafer
Yeah,
beetles?
that's what those turn into in our area.
How
That's
come they're
just
so huge?
that's just what there's like 1,200 species of beetles that look just like that. And we happen to have an
rose chafer beetles
infestation
are the
of rose
fucking
chaffers,
worst.
and so that's what they are because that's what's everywhere around here. So,
hate those
because I mean, we don't see that many June bugs around here.
No.
Not a lot.
I hate
Talking
June
about
bugs
those
too.
giant, like
The giant
1
ones,
inch
I am
long,
aware. Yes,
they turn into rose
rose
chafers.
chafers. Yep.
Let's kill them all. Mel doesn't believe you.
I don't believe you.
We're gonna look it up on the internet when this show's done.
Yeah, you could look it up right now.
I looked
it
at.
up right
Well,
now.
I see. The thing is that I already looked it up, guys, because
He
I wanted
looked
to
it
know
up.
what they were.
What is this?
Because they were eating my lettuces. They will. They kind of act like a bit of a cutworm. Have you seen cutworm before?
Yeah,
The ones
yeah.
that usually cut your tomatoes. So those.
Fuck, they just like axe your tomatoes.
Oh, it's so
And
irritating.
I don't mean like axe it a question.
Yeah. You can use. I use BT to kill those. So that's
BT?
Bacillus thuringiensis. It's a bacteria you can get in a jar, and you spray it on your plants, and as soon as they eat it, they die.
I thought a BT was like when you take hash.
That's a BLT. Oh wait, okay,
And you
hold
like
on.
put it on a knife, and then you put it in a bottle, and like it fills up with
Oh.
smoke, and then you
Like blade tokes, isn't that?
yeah,
They call them
right,
like a
BTs.
Blades, doing blades.
Okay,
yeah,
That's
okay,
what we called
right,
it.
right,
I don't do drugs, so I don't
right. Because you're boring.
No, I
drugs are the worst.
Also, I'm. Never mind.
Let's cut this segment.
Yeah.
Let's never cut it.
I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Hi, Marie.
She's not listening.
I know she's not listening. I'll cut that, though.
Yeah,
I'll cut that.
I'll cut that.
But yeah,
I'll cut
they were
that.
eating my lettuces late in the year last year. It was irritating things.
So then you're like, fuck you.
Every day I was coming out to like more and more wilted lettuces.
Actually, Sarah's son, Jacob, last summer. He was 5 years old. I was digging out a hole for the sandbox and finding all of these earthworms, which I know we're supposed to like love earthworms. They're so gross. They're like flesh colored and wriggly, and they're soft, but they move so much. Ooh, I hate them so
they're
much.
so gross.
Those I got used to as a child while fishing.
Yeah, I always made my dad put them on the hook, and as an adult, I've always made you put them on the hook, Chris.
Yeah, no big deal.
Chris is always
That's why I love him. He's my guy. So Jacob came over and pulled them all out of the sandbox hole that I was making and put them in a bucket, and we gave those to the chickens, and that was a wild ride. They loved it.
That was a wild. They went wild. Chickens gone wild.
Yeah. Oh, actually, this is sort of off topic, but Chris was looking into doing this setup for the chickens with bot flies. Is that what? No, not bot flies.
Yeah.
What is it? Bot flies?
No, it's not bot flies.
Those are the ones that go in your skin.
Black soldier flies.
Black soldier flies.
Oh yeah, cool.
Where you like cultivate them and then they like literally crawl in. What do they do, Chris?
Tell us.
They crawl into a little feeding thing for the chickens, right?
Yeah, they're kind of ideal. They are a type of fly larva that really only wants to eat vegetable matter. Cool. So you put them in a box, and then they have a really big fat larvae, like larger than most fly larvae, and the larvae are compelled to climb upwards once they reach a certain size. And so you put a little ramp, and the ramp just leads to a dish where the chicken then eat them.
Oh my god!
So you just put all your food scraps in this box, and you put you let soldier flies kind of colonize the box, and they just pump out their larvae into your chicken. But unfortunately, we don't live in the right zone.
Oh,
they don't exist sort of north of, I don't know, like the Mason-Dixon line.
You know so much geography, and I don't. You're like, blah, 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 Pennsylvania, Mason-Dixon. I don't know where shit
Transylvania.
is. Transylvania. I'm not fucking going there. What zone is that?
Vampires.
Vampires. See, I just did it. Misinterpreting things?
Oh.
Except maybe that was negative.
Good job.
Yeah, thanks.
You did it. You're so funny and great.
Genius.
Good pod. Quality pod.
Great podcast,
Great
right?
podcast, guys. Great podcast. Oh, okay.
Potato bugs. Let's talk about those motherfuckers.
I'm barfing everywhere. Potato bugs are the fucking bane of my existence.
Are we talking about like roly-polies?
Oh, gross, 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 gross. Those red things with the little black spots on them.
Well, potato bugs, like, are we talking Colorado potato bugs with the stripes? Or are we talking potato bugs like wood lice that live under logs?
We're talking like,
I don't know, Sarah.
we're talking about those things that go on your potatoes.
On the
and they're
potatoes.
fucking red,
Okay,
and you go
so
to
not
pick
a
them up
potato,
and they
not a
explode.
potato-shaped bug, but
like a potato bug.
The Colorado potato beetle.
Yeah,
yeah,
that.
right.
And you touch it, and then it explodes in your
Sure.
finger. Ugh.
Like it dies and explodes? Like
Yeah, its little skin before it turns into a hard bug is like this soft, red,
gross.
squishy, and you touch it, and the skin like.
Yeah, the larvae are pretty gross.
They're so
pretty
delicate.
gross, yeah.
Ugh, it's so terrible.
So
I hate
I
them so
guess
much.
I don't know how many home gardeners grow potatoes. Probably some.
around here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although we're talking to a global audience, obviously.
But
Obviously.
I think the best choice for most people around here to deal with those things is to plant your potatoes kind of late.
Okay.
We've done that, right? We've kind of and then their life cycles kind of like passed a little bit. So I don't know, like whatever the latest date you can plant potatoes, that would be what I would do.
That's what you told me that, Sarah. But then I don't think you did it.
Yeah, and I use something
so
called
smart.
spinosad, which is another bacterial pesticide, like another organic approved bacterial pesticide, and that kills them just outright. But
Right. Oh, good. I fucking want to do that.
it's well, we did that one year for you. You were
I
like
thought we used diatomaceous.
you were overrun, and I came and sprayed your plants with
Yeah.
spinosad.
And the other thing we did,
Yeah.
because everything you read's like, just fucking pluck them off. And you're like, I'm not going to touch
Yeah,
them.
fuck
'cause they're
that. First of all, there's a
disgusting.
gajillion of them.
There's
what are you
like
gonna do?
All my plants are just
Yeah.
red. So I did do a thing where I took a big bowl
Yeah.
and I put gloves on because I'm not fucking touching that shit. And I bent my potato plants over and I like tapped them into the bowl, like tap, 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 tap. And the dirty potato bug larva would just fall off into the bowl.
That sounds
And then
like great chicken feed.
chickens won't eat it.
Oh, weird.
I don't know if it's just my chickens.
Oh, they also won't eat tent caterpillars.
No,
Yeah,
those are
that's
probably
true.
poisonous
They're smarter than they
or
seem.
gross tasting.
So maybe the potato larvae are poisonous because they're feasting on the poison part of the potato
Oh, it could
plant.
be nightshade and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh my god! So one time, we had a big garden growing, and I had shown Greg that you can.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Oh, sorry, that wasn't the punchline.
You're such a dick. Oh my God. I had shown Greg that you can eat, what's it called? Lamb's quarters.
Yep.
And so every morning before work, he was going out and picking lamb's quarters to like oomph up his salad for work. And then like 3 weeks later, I'm out there with him and he's like, look at these lamb's quarters. And he's popping these little leaves off into his mouth. And I'm going, Greg, holy fuck. Dude, are you eating those? He's like, yeah, I've been picking these for 3 weeks. He's like, these plants specifically? Yeah. Dude, that's deadly nightshade. He goes, oh shit, is it poisonous? I'm like, it's called deadly nightshade, man.
Can you tell me a bit about Diatomaceous Earth? Because I know it's like touted.
Either way.
Tote bag.
Tote bagged.
I think
It's tote bagged.
Tote bagged as this amazing cure all. Like people drink it in smoothies and stuff. How does it work?
Well, what it's supposed to do is that the insects kind of get covered in it. It starts to cut them up because it's little like pieces of sharp glass, basically.
But it's not.
Well, it's little silica shells that are basically sharp diatoms. Yeah, and it's supposed to cut them up, and then they kind of dehydrate and die.
Ew.
I have never had a single ounce of success using diatomaceous earth to deter, injure, bother, or any insect.
Yeah, it didn't work on those potato bugs one time we tried.
The problem is when it gets wet, so that's all the time in the garden because you're either watering or it's raining, and it turns into more like a mat rather than a bunch of free crystals. And now that mat's kind of matted together, and it doesn't really bother the bugs because now it's sort of clumpy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I might try it in the greenhouse just because nothing ever gets wet on the leaves. But yeah, I don't recommend diatomaceous earth because I've not ever seen any particular benefit of using it.
And snake oil.
It was very attractive to me in the beginning because it was like this thing I could apply quite easily and maybe do away with my nemesis, the squash vine borer. But it was not effective on the squash vine borer.
I thought the eggplant was your nemesis.
Well, the eggplant was a challenge, but my nemesis is the squash vine borer.
So what do we do about the squash vine borer? Can you describe what it looks like for me, please?
Sure.
It's so gross.
The adult looks like a bee, like a red bee, but it's actually a moth that's really fast and hangs around in the day. It's a diurnal moth, so it's a diurnal is the opposite of nocturnal, and you don't see very many diurnal moths. Moths are nocturnal, so it's red, it's fast, it's kind of got black wings and a red body.
Sounds evil.
Yeah, it
sounds like a super
villain. It's kind of pretty. I mean, and then the larvae are like these disgusting, big, gross white caterpillars that live inside the vines of your squash.
Ew.
And you'll see like yellow, it's called frass, being ejected on the stems, and your plants will start to wilt as the moth larvae sort of chew away the circulatory system of your squash plant.
God, it is a supervillain.
Yeah.
Kills it from the inside out.
And the best way to deal with it is to use row cover. So that's like a exclusion, just to exclude the moths from landing on it. And then the other thing I've done, which has worked really well, is burying the stems of the squash as they come. And then if the borers kind of fuck up one part of the plant, squash are really good at making roots. So they'll just make roots anywhere you bury part of the stem.
Okay.
So it'll have a secondary circulatory system. And then the third way you can do it is just only grow butternut squash because they're impervious to squash vine borer.
No kidding.
Yes.
I love
They're
butternut
actually
squash.
impervious?
Yeah, the stem is too tough. The borer larvae can't get in, and so that's why we never have a problem with our butternuts. It's only acorn squash and stuff like pumpkins and stuff that they fuck
Forget
up.
your delicatas.
Yeah, delicata is definitely too delicata.
What's your stripper name?
Yeah,
Chris. Too delicate.
I'm irritated by people that live around us who are like, what's a squash vine borer? I'm like, how have you never, every year, they get us.
Yeah.
So you've got them around. Someone's like...
In Perth and when we moved out to the country, there's no season that I've not been, fighting the stupid squash vine borer.
But also Sarah, as we mention all the time, lives across the street. But even in Sarah's garden, you get different pests than we do. There's a lot of crossover, but you get different infestations from
the
us.
potato beetles to anywhere near
I got I've never seen anything like that. I was just like, fuck it.
I've only ever had a couple of them on any of our potatoes.
I had thousands.
Yeah, I know. I remember horrible. They were like completely devouring potatoes.
Yeah, you could like almost
within
hear them
days.
eating them. Yeah, it was terrible and disgusting.
Yeah.
So that begs the bigger question, or question of bigger pests, rather.
Yeah. Bigger pests.
Okay.
Same size question. Bigger pests.
Bigger pests.
What do you do to keep deer, rabbits, groundhogs, skunks, etc. out of the garden?
Well,
fence? Dog? I know the answer to that. We don't have a fence or a dog.
Yeah.
But do you take any other measures? Sarah has a dog.
For, it's really different on any property. For whatever reason, the deer are not interested in venturing into our field. Probably because the road is right there.
Big
and
dogs
it's just
next
too
door,
open,
too?
and there's dogs on either side. Hunting dogs on one side and huskies on the other. Neither of them are ours. So I don't take any precaution against deer whatsoever. But if you're in the woods, yeah.
Oh, I've heard that like for deer, you need to do, what is it, like a 12-foot high fence or something?
I mean, if you're really doing a big garden, I would just do an electric fence.
Right,
yeah.
right.
But
they can leap pretty high. I think even if you do electric, they can jump over it if it's not really high.
Yeah.
Deer are crazy.
Shoot them.
Just shoot them.
I mean, maybe dog piss or coyote.
My grandma used to brush the dog, and she would take old pantyhose and make little pouches with dog hair and hang these little pouches of dog hair like on every post of her garden.
No
Don't
kidding.
know if
She said it helped.
or not.
I think it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, except all the nasty.
We've had
dog
problems
hair.
with
Ew.
skunks. That's much more difficult than deer, I think.
Can you tell us your skunk story, Chris? I know something happened last year that was very funny.
All right.
For me.
All right. I didn't get sprayed. Let's just put that out there right now.
So like every morning for weeks, Chris was coming, he'd go and check the garden and come into the house and be like, God damn it.
There was a skunk basically ruining hundreds and hundreds of row feet of crop. It was trying to get these fucking chaffer beetles, which are delicious, the big white larvae they were talking about earlier. And so I had to catch the skunk. So I went over to an acquaintance house and pour out a skunk trap, eventually trapped this skunk. But I was out in the garden early in the morning, and I didn't even notice that there was a skunk in the trap until I was about 1 foot away from the skunk.
My God.
In which case it started sort of digging and freaking out, and I had to back away very quickly. Yeah.
What did you use to bait it?
Oh, Doritos with peanut butter.
Doritos with peanut butter. How funny is that?
So then I had to cover it with a canvas to make it chill out, get it onto my trailer. Then I drove it to Charlotte Lake, where it now lives.
It's like catching a skunk is like painting yourself into a corner, right? You're like,
yeah,
oh, good,
because you're like, I caught
Shit.
it, and then you're like, well, I don't know what to do.
Now fucking what?
So, but how did you do it? How did you cover it with a sheet without getting sprayed on?
Well, so I had to basically there's tips online, so you have to sort of cover yourself like a ghost, and then like slowly walk up on it.
Ooh.
So I didn't want it to see me, and I very slowly walked up with it with a sheet sort of over me, and then put that sheet over top the skunk once I was close enough, and then it just sort of chilled out.
Are skunks scared of ghosts? Is that the lesson that we're all taking?
No, well, you don't want to freak the skunk out. That's what you want.
Oh, right. They love
out.
ghosts.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like a lot of people, I mean, I'll be honest with you, the most common method of getting rid of a skunk is to trap it and then shoot it in the trap while you're far away.
Yeah. That's probably, that makes sense.
Which is not without a mess, right? If you pierce the stink gland or whatever it's called.
So we're going to switch things up a little bit, Chris.
Alrighty.
Get fun and frisky with fashion.
Woohoo!
Freaky.
Freaky. Getting fashion freaky.
Welcome to Fashion Corner, everybody.
Farm fashion?
Farm
It is
fashion.
farm fashion. I hope it's farm fashion phenomenal. Farm nominal.
Farm nominal.
Another clumsy portmanteau from Sarah.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Do you have any recommendations on how to stay cool and or keep the sun out of your eyes for hot summer days?
Yeah, big hat, no shirt.
But don't
You're
you
never
get a
out there with
sunburn?
no shirt.
That's
Wear
true.
a shirt.
I like to wear linen, and that's a serious statement. I am a big fan of wearing all linen.
All linen all day.
I need to get a new linen outfit from Ottawa. There's a weird store downtown that sells a large selection of linens.
What's it called?
I don't
Linen
remember.
linens.
Yeah.
Linen.
I bought a bunch of linen to go to Thailand for our honeymoon, and found that it was light and airy, but also protected you from the wind and sun.
And so sophisticated.
Yeah, very.
I love a man in linen.
It was great. I think it's a little bit delicate for gardening, but I mean, shorts and a big hat. Like I definitely want to wear a big hat when I'm out there.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
And nothing, jeans are not great to garden in.
No.
Definitely. Very sweaty.
I know Greg, my husband, who's a carpenter and often has to work outside in the sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
He's always going to the local reuse center we call the dump. And he gets long sleeve business shirts secondhand, button up long sleeve white shirts, and to protect him from the sun. And if you wear a bandana, you wet it and wear it around your neck. It helps keep
I've
your
seen that
body
before,
temperature quite cool. And it's very fashionable.
So is that what the cowboys were doing? Is that where
Yes.
that cowboy fashion comes from? That's so
for
cool.
sure.
There's also just straight up, if it's too hot, stop.
Yeah.
Don't work in the garden. Usually a lot of farmers will work from 6 a.m. to 11, and then they'll stop for 2 or 3 hours and then go back out at 2.
Siesta.
Just because
Siesta.
in July, there's no reason to be out from 11 to 2 in the afternoon. That's crazy hot.
I actually had our farmer that we've already talked about, Alan, when I was mowing the lawn midday once. He goes, "Mad dogs and Englishmen work in the noonday sun." I was like, okay.
He's from a
Mad
book.
dogs and Englishmen.
He
I
is
love
from a
it.
book.
He's like an old man from a book.
He's got a hat. He's got a pipe. He's got plaids. He's got suspenders.
He's a real character. I love that guy.
We love Alan.
I wanted to call our friend Kat on this question. She just ran to the bathroom. So I'm just waiting for her to text me back.
Right. Damn it, cat. Even just wetting a baseball cap, sometimes just run it under the hose and stick it back on your head. It's oh yeah, that's good.
Don't be bald.
Don't be bald.
Tip 84.
Oh, you can't.
Don't be bald.
Oops. I can't comply.
Oopsies. Broke my own rule.
I like a big hat. The bigger the better. Last year, all I could find was a ladies' straw hat at Lowe's for $11, and I wore it.
You need a J-Lo hat.
Yeah, that'd be great.
A small tent for your head.
Actually, there's a type of Australian cowboy hat that I really like that the farmer that I worked with last year had, and that would be a great hat. It was a really cool.
tell us about it.
It's like a cowboy hat, but it kind of curls on the side a little bit. Very stylish.
Oh, I think we're calling.
I think Greg would look great in
Fashion
it. I would look weird in it, but I would wear it. Greg can wear the hell out of a hat. Yeah.
Greg can wear the hell out of anything.
Oh, Greg.
Hello.
Hey, Kat.
Hi.
Hi, Kat.
How are you?
Good. We've meandered over to Fashion Corner, and of course I thought of you immediately. Kat was the first one ever on our podcast. She's sort of like the cool aunt of Teach Me Tiger podcast.
She is. Hi, Auntie Kat.
If Sarah and I are the mummies.
Can I be the cool younger sister? Oh, I'm so cool and young.
I guess. Am I like the uptight older sister? Is that what's happening here?
You are wearing lipstick, okay? Cool big sisters always wear lipstick.
So, Kat, I have a question for you.
Okay, shoot.
Do you have any recommendations on how to stay cool and or keep the sun out of your eyes on hot summer days?
You know what? My favorite thing to do, and it works really, really well, except sometimes you get wet spots on your butt. But I like to, before I go to bed at night, I'll take a pair of my underwear and I will wet it in the sink. And then I will put it in the freezer overnight. So when I wake up in the morning, I just slip them on and I am cool as ice.
Oh my God.
So would you recommend wearing your regular clothes over your frozen underwear to go out and do gardening? Or
Yes.
could you freeze a hat? Can you freeze anything? Could you freeze your entire outfit?
Did you just ask if you can freeze anything? Yes, the answer is you can freeze anything if you lower its temperature.
Cool.
I really like this hat.
Marty Bent's Chris.
Yeah. Oh, we have a scientist in the studio.
Shut.
You have I'm
Let's
a
make fun of Chris.
scientist.
Hey.
Chris.
No, this is a podcast about.
Cool tip, Kat.
That's a
Super
great
cool.
tip.
Frozen even.
You're welcome.
That's a cold tip you got.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Is that it?
That's it.
She's like, please let this be it. Let this train wreck stop.
Thank you so much. We love you. Have fun in Chicago.
Thank you for teaching me.
Hold on
Thank
to
you
your hat.
for teaching us, Tiger.
Okay, guys. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
I love the end there. Okay, guys. Like, that's a fucking enough.
Are we
Okay.
done here?
So-
Because I'm on a vacation.
See you later, suckers.
So, can I go?
So freeze your panties.
Freeze your panties, freeze your hat, freeze your shirt, freeze your pants, freeze your
Oh
socks.
my god! For all you ladies and men out there, your frozen panties might be damp, and they might only stay frozen for a little while, and they're gonna touch your pants and get your
Yeah.
pants wet. What if you dampened and froze a sanitary napkin and put those on your not frozen panties?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing you do after you have a baby.
Oh yeah, I
But you are giving birth to a garden, right? So, same thing.
I feel like all this wet underwear would just lead to chafing.
and
for
yeast
me.
infections.
Yeah. Well, not I would be fine with
You can
it.
get a yeast infection. Boys get
Fair-
yeast infections, but
I
it's
think
not,
it's
like,
pretty difficult. You
maybe
gotta like
if you
try.
wear wet underwear for like 3 weeks,
Yeah.
you get one.
Chris is like, damn it, you guys. I followed your advice and now I have a yeast
Now I have a
infection.
yeast infection,
In my pee-pee
and
hole.
I'm PMSing. Did you just say pee-pee hole? I've hereby banned that from your vocabulary from here on out.
That's Chris's favorite
That's
swear.
my
Pee-pee
favorite
hole.
swear word is pee-pee hole.
It makes me so uncomfortable.
because it makes Sarah so uncomfortable.
I can say cunt. I can say all the words.
Yeah.
But pee-pee hole is just too...
My pee-pee hole.
Oh, stop. Stop it. It's like when people say front bum, like to their kids,
Oh my
vagina.
God.
Your front bum. Like, shit, girl. Don't teach your kid that's a bum.
Also, by the way, your child is going to be pregnant at the age of 11
Yeah. From
if she's an early bloomer. 13 if she's late.
13 if she's like 14. I think
14.
I was closer to 14.
I think I was 13. 13.
13, 14. When
So
did
let's
you
talk
have
about our
puberty,
periods. When did you
Chris?
get your period?
What is that?
Can we do it without me having the headphones on for a bit?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I don't see why not.
Chris and I only do it with headphones on.
That's right. I have to have a different soundtrack. I can't listen to melody.
You guys just love like different music. Music is so important to your sex
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Chris wants Enya.
Right.
Melody wants System of a Down. It's
No,
just
actually, though, we do want to. I always want like quiet like indie music from
Yeah.
the early 2000s.
Right.
And he wants like smooth jazz tracks.
ugh,
Or
smooth
like,
jazz
well,
tracks.
no, I want like
You want like
Sarah
electro.
a little bit, yeah,
like
a little bit
chill
more bass
electro.
on it. Yeah,
Yeah. So you're looking more romance. You're looking more like
I'm looking to fuck. Yeah.
Well, he wants to like,
like it.
so like his sex den is full of martinis. He's got like fancy martinis and like smooth beats in his sex den. And in my sex den, I don't know what we're drinking. Probably just beer. It's weird because he's the beer guy.
In my sex den, it's definitely like 40s of OE and yeah, man.
So you're just listening
Old
to like
English.
Old Dirty Bastard
I'm just
and
listening to Old Dirty Bastard. I'm drinking 40s of OE. Boys in the hood are always hard.
Actually, you know what? In mine, we're drinking sangria.
Ooh.
We're drinking
Can I come over to
sangria.
your sex den?
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
on
that's
like a
true.
back patio.
It's a bit more rustic.
Oh,
A
you're
lot
doing
of
it on the
candlelight.
Right.
Oh, really? Cool.
Cockroaches, though, man, because we're in Toronto on a back patio,
right.
so there's cockroaches.
Right. Sounds like
But
a
it's cool.
sexy romantic time.
There's lots of like Christmas lights everywhere.
Oh, it's so pretty.
You know, I'm
Mel.
thinking of a specific patio.
I love it. I love this.
There were roaches.
There were real roaches.
Okay.
The roaches in my sex den are like from all the doobies we smoked.
Whoa!
You like roll off the bed onto a bag of Doritos by accident. Whoops, things got wild. Pass me the malt liquor. We're so different. Mel's so classy. Oh my god.
Sarah's not.
No, I'm just not. It's okay. I'm really not. I showed up. We dress up to do the podcast sometimes, and Melody looks so beautiful. She's got this gorgeous sweater on. She's got makeup. She's got beautiful lipstick, earrings. Like she just looks like $1 million fucking dollars. And I showed up in a jumpsuit.
You look like a fresh 50 at least.
I'm wearing dirty track pants and an old sweater.
Sarah.
Ask that question, ask the crib.
I got a question. Gonna ask Chris. Zoe, our buddy Zoe, she says, let's talk cover crops. What are the best cover crops? Most affordable cover crops. How do we do this, man?
Right. Buckwheat is the best and most affordable cover crop for weed exclusion. It grows really fast. You just mow it down. It kind of chokes everything out. It's a summer cover crop. You got to plant it after frost, and it gets mowed down within like 6 or 8 weeks. If you have problems with weeds, it'll smother everything out.
Do you need to have like a tractor to have a cover crop?
No.
Like do I mow it with my lawnmower?
A lawnmower if you want, yeah. Fine.
Girl. And then what do I do? Like, I plant the buckwheat, and then it
grows like 3 feet tall. It starts to flower. Before it actually finishes flowering, goes to seed. Otherwise, you'll have problems. You got to cut it all down, and then buckwheat breaks down within just a couple of weeks. Like all of the grass from it breaks down, and then I've used another one called tillage radish, which is great. Which is like a big sort of daikon-looking radish that puts a bunch of organic matter into the soil and breaks up the soil.
And it just like rots in the soil,
Yeah, it just rots in the soil.
So, but is it much of a cover crop? Like the greens aren't so big.
They do, no, because you plant them pretty close. Like it completely covers the entire, I had a 100 by 100 foot patch of just tillage radish last year, and it worked great.
Nice.
Other than that, you can use like peas and oats and hairy vetch and such, but I've never actually used any of that stuff. But the other farmer, the other organic farmer in our area, which is Greenwood Organics, Jeff and Joanne, I think they just use buckwheat, and all they do is anytime they have a bed that's not being used, they put buckwheat in it because it just is easy to cut down. It keeps the weeds out and it holds the soil structure, and it's easy to do. If you're going to start somewhere, start with buckwheat.
So for my garden, you've seen my garden. It's like it's a mess.
Bit of a mess, yep.
Could I just sow buckwheat in there?
Yeah, I would basically try and disturb the surface a bit to disturb
like by flashing it or telling it my birth story.
Well, you could probably
like really feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then he blasted his way out of my vagina.
Scare the weeds out with horrible stories. Just you want to disturb the weeds a little bit. So I would probably shallow till it.
Okay. With your tiller.
Maybe, yeah. Or someone else's.
Yeah, right.
Also, Zoe wants to borrow Chris's tiller.
Yeah, that was the second part of Zoe's question. Also, can I borrow your tiller? Oh, wait. Cover crops, buckwheat. So then you cut it down, and then what?
That's
it. You leave it there?
It rots in the ground. You could just plant directly into that if you wanted to.
Like just make a little like move it.
Yeah, if you want. Or you can till it in a little bit if you want to. Depends on what you want to do.
Fucking sweet. So I'm thinking like, what if you cut it all down and then you make like a little wedge in between, and then it's kind of like your mulch.
Yeah, it can act like a mulch, and I forget. There's a specific word for that.
Okay, and then our friend Sarah Nelson.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. This is Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. This is Sarah. Sarah with an H to Sarah with an H.
Sarah says, I've been meaning to ask you guys, what the heck do vultures do for the winter? They've just started roosting on our barn again, and it made me realize we haven't seen them all winter. Oh, Sarah, resident scientist.
Science facts with Sarah. What happened? Yeah.
Science facts with Sarah Wright.
All right. So, I did a little research on our good friend, the turkey vultures, which are they're so cool. Turkey vulture in Latin, I don't remember what it is, but I know it means something like, what is it, Chris? Do you know?
It's Urquite ultrave, I think.
I hate you. Shut up. Urquite vulture.
That's pig Latin.
I got it.
Okay.
It means something like clean up. Fuck, never mind. Scratch all that. So anyway, where do they go? Where do they go? They go. They're a migratory species in cooler climates. So they don't migrate if they're in a warmer climate. They can just stick around all year. But in around where we live in the Ottawa Valley, North America situation, They migrate to Florida and Texas around about. So that's where they sit. They're just like
It's a long way.
Instead of calling all those old people in Canada that go to Florida, what do they call them? Snowbirds. We'll just call them turkey vultures. Yo, it's so much more appropriate, right? It's way more apt.
Yeah, they have the same necks.
Same neck. You know, their heads are bald so that when they're eating carrion, eating Karen. Get the fuck off me. That's Karen. Carrion.
You bunch of turkey vultures.
So that they don't get all the dead shit stuck in their feathers. So they keep a nice bald head. And also I was reading that their claws are perfectly shaped to pick dead animal chunks from their nostrils. Ugh, gross, weird. Another really fun fact.
Picking their own nose?
Yeah, like they've got to get it out or else they choke. Like they need it because they stick their whole face in a carcass, right? So they need to keep their nostrils clear. That's like part of their situation they need to be able to do. Most birds don't have to clear their own nose holes, beak holes.
Wild.
Another fun fact, though, is that they are the main avian species that cause damage and fatalities in military aircrafts, in military aircraft
Like
collision.
bird strikes, yeah?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's fucking turkey vultures.
Bird strikes,
Weird.
is that what it's called?
Bird strike.
Yeah. That's what it's called.
It's like duck hunt, but with a warplane and vultures.
Vulture versus warplane. Mother
Vulture
Nature, that
versus
sneaky bitch, she
warplane.
always wins.
It's a new series on TBS.
So there you go. There's another science fact with Sarah.
Science facts with Sarah.
What happened?
Okay. And then we have another question. Not farm related. Thought it might be fun. A listener who we won't name because we're talking about...
Is it Meredith again?
No, it's not Meredith. Keep guessing. Don't keep guessing. Okay. She says, we co-sleep with our almost 2-year-old son and keep waking up in soaking wet sheets because during the night he repositions his penis in the diaper to point up instead of down. Do you have any suggestions on ways to keep his wiener under wraps? Chris, you have a wiener.
How do you keep it under wraps,
How do you
Chris?
keep your wiener under wraps, Chris?
Chastity belts
I
for babies.
tape mine down so that my boners don't slap me in the face during the night.
Oh, huge dick reference.
Large,
Okay.
long but lean. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no.
No. Maybe like a tighter diaper or some sort of a dick binding situation.
Don't bind your kid's dick. Don't do it.
No, I would say, I don't know. Wrap that kid like a
Christmas present.
just wrap him up
Wrap that shit up.
in some
it up.
absorbent sheets.
I know. You take the sheets off the bed that he was going to wet anyway, and you wrap it around a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Right.
Like a diaper toga.
And then, to make it waterproof on the outside, just tape it.
Maybe just
Duct tape.
like rub his
Yeah.
nose in it in the morning and he'll be stop doing it.
Bad.
You know
Bad
what's,
baby.
what's funny about this question is she told me this at a party, and she actually had the exact right answer. What I would tell her and what the internet would tell her.
Yeah, what is it?
Put a diaper on forwards, put a diaper on
Oh,
backwards,
yeah.
put underwear over top.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
But she felt like she was binding him too much.
Nah, that's fine.
So I think switch to the sheet and duct tape. That's perfect.
Yeah. Or just duct tape his hands together, and then he can't reach his wiener.
Oh, Sarah's
Duh.
coming from a different angle. I love it.
Yeah. Put like mittens on his hands.
Coming from a different angle.
Put some mittens on him and duct tape the mittens on.
Yeah.
Perfect. So you're welcome.
Okay.
Also,
And,
duct tape his mouth so he doesn't cry about his
Oh,
stupid
boy.
duct tape.
Now
mitten.
Yeah.
we're into abuse.
Yeah. No, I think we've already traveled far beyond abusive. Don't come and take our kids away, please. Or go ahead.
Take him for an afternoon,
Take
maybe.
A
one-
little while. A week would be
One or
nice.
two
I'm
of
just gonna-
Sarah's? She still has a bunch.
I still have so many. My brother brought a friend up for, like, my brother came up for a visit. He brought a friend, and at one point, like, all my kids were there, but then one kid was in the bathroom when they arrived, and Jacob was at school. So within 10 minutes, the other kid comes out of the bathroom, and then I got Jacob off the bus, and the guy was like, "Whoa, what the fuck? Like, are all these kids yours?" I was like, "Yeah, they are." He was.
I don't know those last couple.
Yeah, I don't know. Just
Drifters.
come on in.
They come and go as they please.
At the grocery store, sometimes I like to pretend that my kids aren't my kids if they're being bad. And I just really loudly with Greg will be like, oh my God, whose children are these? They are so poorly behaved. Someone should come and deal with these children. It's like, oh my God, I know. And then people stop looking at us. So weird.
I'm thinking of this time. I can't remember if you told me the story and it was so vivid in my mind that it feels like a real memory. Or if I was there where Jacob climbed in. This was a couple years ago, so he was still like a toddler, but he climbed in behind the tower of dog food by the front window of the grocery store. And then all the staff were coming over and trying to like get him out of there.
It was awful because the tower of dog, it's like all up against the window at the front of the grocery store, right? And it's
with
like
enough space for a toddler.
Just enough for a toddler to slip behind. But it's like 10 feet high.
Yeah.
And like 30
a dangerous
feet long.
amount of dog food.
And he wouldn't, like, he was just back there. And I was already, like, I had the 2 other kids. People were crying. It was, like, temper tantrum fucking station. You know, I couldn't find my bank card. I had all this grocery. Like, it was just a fucking mess. And the whole staff was, like, trying to lure him out. And I was just like, fuck it.
Did
just
he get
let him
any?
stay there. Like, I don't know.
He
I'm
lives
just
there
going to
now.
go. So,
He's yours now.
He's
You
got a
could make a
lifetime
small
supply
roof
of dog
made
food.
of dog food
He's fine.
for him.
He loves it.
Did they give him one of those
Pillars.
free cookies from the bakery?
No, but that's the only reason the kids come to the grocery store now. And I release them. It's like we get in the grocery store and I'm like, they're like dogs, like they're like jumping up and can we go? And I'm like, okay, everyone, go.
So,
And then they all run to the back of the store.
listeners, turns out that if your child goes to the bakery desk, what do you call it?
Yeah.
Counter,
At the end,
and asks for a cookie, they just give them a cookie.
yeah, man. And they'll fucking give you one too. You can be like, and one for mom. And they're like, ugh, all right. And they give you one anyway, even though they don't want it.
Sometimes Tim's Hortons will give you a free Timbit for your dog.
That's terrible because that's not good for dogs. I'd
friend-
rather feed it to my dogs.
Chocolate tidbit.
Chocolate tidbit.
Our friend Adam was here last night, and he was saying he had a friend who used to go to Tim Hortons, and she'd order a donut and say, "Can you throw it in for a quick 5?" And they'd microwave it for 5
Yeah.
seconds.
Totally always do that with an apple fritter. Always. Every time.
Yeah,
That's
that'd
a
be
thing?
much
Tasted
better.
anything until
Yeah.
you fucking had a microwave apple fritter. Yeah, man. Yeah, man, that's a thing.
Life hack.
Life hack.
Hot fritter. Is that your new favorite curse word? Hot fritter.
Fritter. That's delicious.
Son of a hot fritter.
Hot fritter. I actually have a life hack.
Okay.
All right.
I learned yesterday from my little brother.
Okay.
Permanent marker. You know what gets rid of permanent marker?
No.
Children's tears.
Children's tears. When you rub their
Parents'
face in
tears,
it.
actually.
Like, yeah. No, that just solidifies it.
Right.
Like
Right.
it'll never come out. No, whiteboard markers.
Okay.
Anything that a permanent marker is on, I guess maybe besides cloth, but like walls or plastic or anything that's not cloth, you take a whiteboard marker and you scribble all over the permanent marker and then it just wipes off.
Huh.
I didn't even believe him and he was like, pass me that permanent marker. And I was like, if this is on my wall forever, I'm going to fucking kill you, Connor. And then I was like, let me do it. And I wrote like, this does not work. And then he got the whiteboard thing and it just fucking wiped it right off.
That's weird.
He learned it working at Toys R Us.
Back up.
Beep, boop, beep, beep, boop.
So you wrote that on your wall?
Yeah,
That's a real like free fall, Sarah.
I know.
That does
I
not,
really
it
trust-
does
that's a
not
trust fall.
surprise
I
me.
really trust him.
Does not surprise me.
It doesn't surprise Chris. I paint on my walls and stuff. It's just a wall. Self-expression, man.
Yep.
In the basement, it actually says S+G on the wall.
G's for granny.
Obviously. I love my granny.
Okay.
Moving on.
We're done with our questions. Can you believe it?
I can hardly believe it. What a
Can't
ride. What a
believe
ride this has
it.
been.
Chris, where can we find you? And Brooke Valley Produce, which we haven't even plugged yet. Chris is
Wow.
from Brooke
Yeah.
Valley Produce.
Brooke Valley Produce.
Where can we find you?
Yeah, okay. So on Facebook, you can look just for Brooke Valley Produce. And then on Instagram, it's at Brooke Valley Produce. And you can find me personally on Twitter at Chris R. Chambers. And Facebook, also Chris Chambers.
You can see pictures of Chris out standing in his field.
Standing in my field.
He's out standing in his field all the time.
Literally.
And
Standing.
figuratively.
Figuratively, just mediocre.
Mediocre in his field. That's not a joke.
Eating okra in my field.
Ooh.
I made okra last night.
Meaty
It was so gross.
okra.
I made mediocre okra. It was gross.
Oh, yeah. I heard okra's gross.
It's not.
It's so good when Greek ladies like Kat's mom, Kat, who was on earlier, her mom makes the best okra. It like melts in your mouth. It's so good.
I've
I
never
like
eaten it.
like slimy, overcooked okra in soups and stuff. It's delicious.
Yeah.
It's kind of like got a
You're really selling
slimy
it,
texture.
Chris.
It's great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's like you're eating a bag of jellyfish.
Oh, my God.
I suppose you like bubble tea too.
Yeah, you probably
no,
do. Pervert.
that
I love bubble
it's
tea.
the problem there is it's got two textures and they're at odds with each other.
What about, hey, I have a
It's
question,
like
guys.
drinking backwash.
Oh my God. Okay, this has been the grossest episode
Yay,
ever for
pee
me,
holes.
personally.
Let's all
Thanks,
fart.
Chris. No more farts. Coconut water, pulp or no pulp?
Pulp.
Pervert.
I don't like coconut straight at all, but I guess no pulp.
Excellent. Right
Yeah.
answer.
Not
I
a
just called
coconut
Melody a
fan.
pervert and pointed right at her.
I
face.
won't like Mel.
Greg likes
How
it
many
like
things
that,
do
too.
I dislike food wise? Almost
Everything.
none.
Nothing.
Chris doesn't like anything unless he's grown it and prepared it himself, actually.
I don't like coconut though. That's one thing I don't
He
like.
thought he didn't like beets for years.
That's
Thought he
fair.
didn't
So
like
good.
cauliflower.
Yep.
I did that cauliflower thing where you make mashed cauliflower. It was fucking delicious.
Yeah.
Have you ever done
Hey,
it?
Another life hack.
Mash that
Mash. Like when you make your mashed potatoes, put like half
Cauliflower.
cauliflower. You literally can't even taste it. If you do
Trick
full
you.
cauliflower, the texture's off. But if
Yeah.
you do like half cauliflower, you like don't even.
Oh my
I'll give you
God.
another life hack. If you think you don't like something, cook it in rendered pork fat. You'll like it.
Or chicken fat.
Yeah, you'll now like it.
So Sarah, where can we find you?
LittleWrightCrew.art
Art.
on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, Sarah Wright. Yeah. That's where you can find me. Where can I find you, Melody?
I am at melodystarkweather.ca, and all of my social media links are at the bottom of the page. And speaking of websites, go to our podcast website.
Go to our website, guys. Check it out.
All of the subscribe links, for the most part, are on the site. So you can go to the site, click on listen to the show, and then you can listen. You can scroll down to the bottom of the page, subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play,
You
all
can do
that stuff.
You can do so much.
And please rate us 5 stars on iTunes. And
5
please
stars,
write us
please.
a favorable review.
Yeah. Please do
Yeah.
that. Or we'll unfriend you.
I'll do it.
Chris is going to do it.
So, Greg's existentialism.
What's he got to say
What's
about
he gonna
farming?
say?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to post it to Facebook. So, look for it. I'm usually a couple days late. So, a couple days after the podcast airs, look for Greg. And then let's
We
all
might
talk
just
about
post
Greg.
a video of him shirtless hammering posts into the ground.
I'm sure you
Might
guys
do
will
that.
have Greg at some point in the near future.
Yeah.
No,
Greg.
no.
No.
We keep him in his box.
Okay. All right.
Like the Gimp from Pulp Fiction. Amazing.
Just kidding. We all
Bring
love
out
Greg.
the Gimp. It's just Greg.
Bring out the Greg.
Bring out the Greg. Oh my God, I'm Bruce Willis.
Yes, you are. I was
Yes.
going to say.
Thanks. Whew. I love him so much.
So here's Greg.
Yeah, like I just had a little question. No big deal. Just occurred to me. Question is, what will it take to see meaningful change in an industry as expansive as agriculture? When family farms are being bought up and replaced by colossal monocrop aberrations, when the same companies putting legal patents on seeds are producing and selling the deadly pesticides that will help those seeds to fruition, when the meat we put on our plates is raised and processed in nightmarish conditions that for many are beyond fathoming. Undoubtedly, the guiding principles that drive us at terrifying speeds away from any semblance of sustainability are concerned mainly with profit. And as we approach the chasm of food scarcity and environmental catastrophe that lies ahead, it behooves us to slow down and ask, are we being short-sighted? And can we really wait any longer to bring this discussion to the fore? The gods of capitalism don't operate in the realm of reason and accountability. So waiting for top-down change is a dead end. We have to support and advocate for good change where it is happening. The smaller farms that champion diversity, the important research being done in the face of climate change and dwindling resources, the proliferation of greenhouses and technology-driven operations that are bringing food production into urban centers and revealing countless other exciting possibilities. But we can't leave it all up to the farmers. They're busy keeping us fed and trying to eke out a living while they're at it. I'm afraid the brunt of the legwork will fall to us, the consumer. We must demand change from our governing and regulatory bodies. We must reevaluate our habits and lifestyles and ask ourselves, is the way I eat sustainable? Where does my food come from? We must consider the implications of rampant excess and unprecedented waste. We in the developed world have so much at our fingertips these days. But what ultimately will be the cost?
Thanks for stopping by, you guys.
Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for sending us your questions. We really, really appreciate it a lot.
We love it. You rock.
You guys are all the best.
You're all the best from us. Wishing you all the best.
Hope you'll tune in to the next one. In 2 weeks, we're going to be bringing you Sean
Yakimovich, naturopath with the mostest. Doesn't work. He's not a hostess. Naturopath with the sass.
Acupuncturist with the
Monkturist.
most puncture. No.
Oh.
No.
He's so great. He's such a great guy. And we're going to dispel some myths about homeopathy and naturopathic
That stuff.
The small intestine, right? These things are like meters long, all coiled up, right? These tubes in the intestinal tract. So if you take the small intestine and kind of, had it turn into like a flat sheet, like a rectangle.
Yeah.
The total surface area of just the small intestine, which is where most of our digestion and absorption of nutrients comes from, it's like the size of a tennis court.
Shut the front door.
So think about that. Just appreciate that size.
It's like the size of a tennis court?
That's like the equivalent surface area that's then kind of turned into a tube with all these little folds on the inside.
Holy shit.
Okay.
Oh, literally.
Thanks so much. And remember,
it's a jungle out there.
Meow. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Teach me, tiger, how to tease you. Whoa, 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 whoa. Tiger, tiger, I wanna squeeze you. Whoa, 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 whoa. All of my love I will give to you. Teach me, tiger, or I'll teach you. Christopher Chambers. Back to your mic.
Sorry, there was a chubby baby. I was pinching his cheeks.